Good morning, my friends. Welcome to our New Testament challenge. Today I'm going to share with you some thoughts and reflections from the 6th chapter of the book of Ephesians, Paul's letter to the churches in Ephesus, chapter 6. So the first part of this, he had just talked about husbands and wives, and so he's going into the personal lives of his followers, and there are obviously some controversy, or just it was helpful that we were able to go a little deeper because there's more to it than on the surface. Excuse me. Now we talk about children and parents. It says, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother." And a lot of times, this is interesting, and I think it's true in the original commandment. It's more, we think it's more about younger kids, i.e. teenagers and below. And so we say, hey, the Ten Commandments says, honor your father and mother. This is from the father and mother. No, this is actually, I think more often, it should be focused at adult children of older parents. Honor your father and mother for what they have done, for their wisdom, for their age. You have a responsibility to care for them as they have cared for you. And so, it's talking about this. And then also it says, and fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Now, discipline we think is correction, but discipline is also, there's a positive outcome to discipline. That is the goal of discipline, is to correct, to straighten, to make sure that they're walking in the straight and narrow way, in the right way. And so he's saying, there's Paul's admitting that parents can be overbearing. And so he says, don't be overbearing. Love each other, take care of each other. Then he goes on to slaves and masters. Now, again, obviously this is a different time and a different culture. But there are some lessons, I think, that we can learn. It says, slaves, obey your earthly masters with fear and trembling and singleness of heart as you obey Christ. Workers, obey your bosses with fear and trembling as you would obey Christ. So again, treat them in the love of Christ. Treat them as if they were Christ. Christ has put them there. Whether it's true or not, we treat them as if Christ has put them in that situation, and however they respond, that's up to them. What we are called to do is to treat them with the love and respect of Christ, not only while being watched in order to please them, but as slaves of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart. Render service with enthusiasm as to the Lord and not to the men and women. Do your job. Do it well. Do it with passion. Do it to the very best of your ability, as if you were doing it for God. And masters, do the same to them. Don't threaten them. For you know that both of you have the same master in heaven, and with him there's no partiality. Don't look down on the people who work for you. Don't treat them as beneath you. Both of you are sinners. Both of you have been redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, and when we get to heaven, all distinctions, all levels, all class will be done away with. So just be careful there. Then, love this. This is one of those favorite passages. He says, put on the armor of God. He's talked about spiritual warfare. And so here he says, put on the whole armor of God so you may stand up against the wiles of the devil. Take up the whole armor of God. Fasten the belt of truth around your waist. Put on the breastplate of righteousness. Shoes for your feet. Put on whatever will make you ready to proclaim the gospel of peace. Take the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Pray in the Spirit at all times. Pray for me as well, Paul says. So he ends on a high note. He ends on, here's the protection you have as you go out and live your life. You have this protection. These are the things that God has given you. These are the tools God has given you in order to face the difficulties of life in this broken, sinful world. So don't be afraid. Know that God is with you and He has given you the tools by which you can not only survive, but thrive as well. Hope you've enjoyed Ephesians. Tomorrow we look at Philippians. Take care, my friends.